Welcome to another conscious conversation. Today we are discussing your consciousness practice and food. Food addiction, weight loss, being in the cycle of I have to lose weight, I need to lose weight, I can't lose weight, I can't stop eating, I just want to eat all the time, I want food and I'm not supposed to have food. Oh, I had a good day today. Oh, I only cheated 3 times. That. Let's talk about that today. And let's talk about how to step off of that. It's really a karmic wheel. It's an action and reaction cycle that you're in around food. And let's step out of that and let's talk about how to step out of that using our consciousness practice. It really is the true answer or true solution to every problem created by the ego voice in the head. So if you can agree with me right now that the mind or the voice that you hear inside your head, the thinker, the thoughts that you hear cause you to urge you to want food when you're not hungry. If you can agree with me that that voice talks to you, thinks about food, points out food, brings up food inside your mind, urges you strong urges to eat, to snack, to munch, to crunch, to grab, to whatever. And usually foods that it calls bad foods, problem foods, foods that we just can't resist. I keep finding myself eating this, and I keep saying I'm not going to eat it tomorrow. This is the last day. And then tomorrow. And then if you can agree with me that you hear that in your head, then your consciousness practice is the solution to that. Now I know what you think and what you've been listening to has not only caused a food addiction, a food problem, has caused a problem out of food, but will also give you numerous solutions to try. Here's what we're going to do. This worked. We were able to stick with this for 3 months one time, and we saw results, so we're going to do this again. And again, you're still in the hamster wheel, you're still in the cycle, you're still in the dilemma, you're still trapped in this gain weight, lose weight prison. This food is a problem prison with your mind. I'm going to read something that I wrote yesterday, and then we're going to begin to talk about what to do. What is the change that needs to happen? The ego voice makes a massive drama story up around food. Food is the problem. You have a problem with food. You're out of control. You can't control yourself. Then you hear this and agree. Next, the same voice begins talking to you about what you can't have. Now it makes another massive problem and creates obsessive thoughts and urges over something it has already created into being bad or a problem. Now the two stories collide into a powerful wanting of something you are not supposed to have, according to this voice, disguising itself as you. Many people are trapped inside this mental dynamic desperate to break free. The ego voice then begins suggesting solutions for this compounded problem, causing you to be buried under yet another layer of this complex story, all made up by a ridiculous ego voice in the head. Tomorrow we look at this and start to untangle. You ready? So this story is heard by so many. This is like a radio broadcast that many people are hearing and agreeing with and are now trapped inside this story. It's kind of like accepting a role in a movie. And every role has a set of behaviors and actions, has a way of being within that role. And you have accepted the role of the one with the weight problem, the one with the problem with food, the one who can have this but can't have that, the one who can't stop her or himself from eating, the one who keeps gaining weight, the one who tries to lose weight and can't lose weight. So this is the role you've accepted by agreeing with this story, this label of you. And it causes you, just as every actor has to abide by their role, it causes you to then be trapped in the behaviors that are supportive of that role. So it becomes true then that you can't resist this or resist that. You do overeat. You do eat when you're not hungry. You do have an addiction to certain food. It becomes true because you listen to this story in the head. You allow it to make food a big, massive deal in your life. And then the set of behaviors that go with this role are taken on by your subconscious mind, which controls your actions and behaviors, and you find yourself at the refrigerator at 2 in the morning. And you're like, I wasn't consciously thinking, oh my God, I'm here, I'm standing here. It takes you over. And sometimes you do, a lot of times you do catch it, but a lot of times the urge already has you. It has already taken you over. It's already possessed you. And you find yourself eating when you're not hungry or overeating. And it's the same concept, no matter if it's food, if it's relationships, if it's money, if it's a job, if it's wanting a certain status in life, it's no different. If you accept the role or the label or the story, and you listen to the story, any story, there's always a set of behaviors that's going to go with that story. You're always going to make choices within that role. And you can never make choices that go outside of that role or that story that you believe. It's just not possible. So to begin to make different choices, free yourself from these behaviors, you have to detach from the story. That can no longer be who you are. In our consciousness practice, we learn we're not a who, playing a role in a story, but we're a what. And that's not a question, that's a statement. We are a what. It's what we are. We are the energy of life itself. detached from the stories. When you are the energy of life yourself, you flow with life, and your choices become natural. Meaning, there's no story telling you anything about food, telling you anything about your body, telling you or about how it looks or how it doesn't look. When you are conscious, when you are grounded in what you are, you care for the body, you use food to feed the body, you'll move the body because you're caring for the body. But none of that is a big deal. None of that is an obsession. None of that consumes your every thought from the time you wake up in the morning, from the time you go to bed. None of that is happening. None of that is urgent. None of that is life or death. None of that has pressure in it, urges, obsessions. It does not exist when you step out off of that wheel that you're in of action and reaction in the mental world, listening to the story, buying into the story, and then having to play the role and act out those behaviors. None of that's happening. So let's talk about that now and how to apply that. How do we apply that to the story you're in with food? And what's the first thing we need to do? The first step is what you're doing right now in becoming aware that this is what's happening. You've been listening to the voice in your head. Become aware of this with me now. That is already talking. When you open your eyes in the morning, it's already started. Maybe it's Monday morning. Oh, this is going to be a good... We got this. We've got our new plan. Our package came in yesterday, and we have our new food supply, and we have our whatever the plan of the month is. The plan that the ego voice came up with and caused you to order or buy or do. And no matter where you are in that cycle, sometimes we're in the gung-ho, yes, this is it, I'm going to do it, I'm doing it, I'm tired of it. And so no matter where you are in the new cycle that you're in, because it does just keep spinning and spinning and spinning. You're up and you're down. You're doing it, you're not doing it. You're excited about it, you're over it. No matter where are you? Find yourself first. Where are you? Probably if you're listening to this, you're over it. Which is wonderful. It's a good place to be over it. Or you could be listening to this ready to, maybe you were over it, but you're ready for the new thing. Or your ego voice is. Okay, well, let me see if this is the new thing that's going to get me what I want. Let's see if this is it. So I want you to understand that the voice in the head that you think is you has created this whole dynamic. And you, what you are trapped inside of it. And what I would like this audio to do is to free you from that. So, step 1, be aware that you are where you are with food, with your body, with this whole weight dilemma. Because of that ego voice in the head. And you believing every word it says. And it telling a story to you about food. Creating a problem out of food. Then creating a solution, then creating another problem, then creating another solution, and then obsessing, and then on and on and on and on. That's why you are where you are. That is why you can't, you can't see food as just food. You can't see your body as just something that needs taken care of and fed every now and then, and that's it. You're caught up in a very powerful energy that's wrapped up in emotion, that's wrapped up in frustration, that's wrapped up in lots of different emotion. So that's where you are. And that's okay. And I just want you to be aware of why you are there right now. Because you have been listening to the voice in your head. Now that you can see that, I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to imagine that you take 5 good steps away from that whole, however you imagined that inside your head as I was talking about it. I could see mine as like a wheel that's spinning, and I was standing on it like a record. And if you want to use that image, you can. Standing on a record that's spinning. And I want you to see yourself turn away from the center of that spinning record. Step off of it. Take 5 good steps away from it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn around and look at that record that's still spinning that you could step back up on top of at any moment. And at first, the ego voice is going to try to get you back on that thing as quickly as possible. But right now, as you're right here with me, you are not on it. There is no issue with food. There is no issue with weight. You are just what you are. You have an indifference to food. It is a nothing thing. It is not a problem. It's just food. And you could take it or leave it. Repeat those words in your head with me right now. I could take it or leave it. It's not that big of a deal. I could take it or leave it. It's not that big of a deal. I could eat it now, or I could eat it later. It really doesn't matter. I could have that anytime. I could take it or leave it. It's not that big a deal. I could have that anytime. I could eat it now, or I could eat it later. It really doesn't matter to me. It's not a big deal. Now, as you stand there and look at that record, I want to tell you another story that will begin to try to pull you back in. And this is so simple, but your mind doesn't want it to be simple. It doesn't want it to be that easy to step off of this thing that you may have been on for years and years and years. It doesn't want it to be that easy. So the next story that you're going to hear is, that won't work. This is not going to work. That'll never work. You can't do that. You're not going to be able to do it. But the thing is, we just did it. We just did it in that moment. I just gave you the words, the understanding to have when that story starts to play and you're still close enough to hear it. And maybe you're still close enough that you still feel the strong urge to eat a certain thing. And in your mind, I want you to just say, yeah, I could take it or leave it. Even if you feel like you don't mean that. You feel like there's this strong thing inside of you that's like, yes, I have to have it and I have to have it right now. It's urgent. This is urgent. I must eat this right now. This is a massive big deal and I have to have this in my body at this very moment or something bad is going to happen. Like if you're feeling that, it's okay. Say it anyway. And this is how we start to create awareness between the truth of what you are and the lie that you've been living in with this ego voice in your head. Even if you act off of what the ego voice is saying and you are eating the food, I want you to be saying that in your mind. Yeah, I could take it or leave it. I mean, it's not even really that good. Maybe the first 3 to 5 bites are tasty and satisfying. Then after that, it's like you can't even really taste it that much anymore. This is how we disempower the story that is controlling you and your food choices and your weight. This is how we do it. Another thing that I would like you to do is when you hear it, start talking about food. And right now, that's a big habit for it. I mean, food is the big center focal point of attention. Food, 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 food. Eating it and not eating it. Wanting it and not being able to have it. Like, that's the center story. That is what it gets your attention with. That's how it gets you sucked in to listen to it. So, it starts. And you start hearing it. I want you to, and maybe it's really throwing a fit about wanting to eat something. I don't want you to offer resistance because you're probably feeling the urge to act out the behavior. I don't want you to put up resistance. I just want you to first, before you eat it, or even while you're walking to the kitchen, it doesn't matter. This isn't about if you're eating it or not eating it in this moment, at this stage of the game. It's not about that. It's about being able to separate from the mind. And each and every time you do that, it gets weaker. The story gets weaker. And the control over your behaviors get weaker. So this is a progressive thing. This isn't a like one and done. I can just say these words and then I'll never walk back to the kitchen. No, this is not what this is. This is a gradual overtaking of power. A gradual putting you back in power and taking it out of power. A gradual, progressive change. So, you're walking to the kitchen. I want you to see that thing that is like, oh my gosh, I know that pie is in the refrigerator and it's been in my mind all day. I want to go to the kitchen. Don't offer resistance. But what I want you to do is I want you to see that ego voice as any image you want to give it up on a stage. This is a character wanting you to play a role with it, and it is having a fit. And I want you to see it like a child having a fit over this pie, making it a massive deal. This is like life or death to this thing at this point. I have to have it. A spoiled child that I have to have this, and I have to have this right now, or something bad is gonna, like, there's an urgency to it. That is what urge is. Like, it has made it into such a big deal. Life or death, big massive deal going on here. And it's a piece of pie that can be bought at probably at any store, at any hour of the night. You have access to it anytime you want. It is not going away. This is not the last piece of pie on the planet. But the way this thing creates the urgency and the pressure and the now, the impatience. If you look at it, that's kind of like what it's saying. It's like, this is the last pie on earth. This is the only chance we will ever have to eat this pie, and we have to. It's like, not true. And then, because it's made a problem out of the food, you try to, no, I'm not going to go get it. And then, the resistance just feeds that thing. The resistance feeds the very thing we're trying to take power away from. Do not resist. It is not a big deal. It is a piece of pie that probably only tastes good the first 3 to 5 bites. And the rest is just like, yeah, well, I got to finish it now. So go eat it. But see that as you're seeing it, see the thing that was creating the urge, and see it having a fit like a child. And just watch it. You don't have to think anything about it. You don't have to say anything to it. You don't have to be, I don't want you to be mad at it. I don't want you to fight with it. I just want you to witness it. And when you witness it, throwing its fit and realize that's not you, the power, a little bit of power, comes back to what you are, to your consciousness. You become a little bit more conscious. Okay? That is how we retrieve the power back. And as you become more conscious, you have more control over your behaviors. Then, so that would be, I would say, the first action step besides awareness. The first exercise, let's leave it at that. The first exercise I want you to do, because right now you're going to feel those urges and you're probably going to be driven by them still. I don't want to say overtaken by them, because I don't want you to resist them. So your first exercise in the practice is on your way to get the food that this thing has, still has a lot of power to push you towards the food. Don't resist it. But as you're walking to the kitchen, and I can already hear the story of the mind going against what I'm saying, and that's okay. Walk to the kitchen. It's because it knows it's about to lose power, or to the vending machine, or to the whatever, to the drive-through. Go ahead, go. And see the child or the thing that's been causing this whole mess. That's created this record that you've been standing on, this circle, this hamster wheel, this cycle that you've been on. See it throwing the fit over this thing and creating the urgency and wanting it. I have to have it right now. Oh my God, I'm going to die if I don't get this thing right now. I have to have it. See it. Just watch it. Give it separate from it and just sit there and look at it. And then eat the food if you want to. And see it in the background. Keep watching it as you eat the food. Keep watching it. What's it doing as you take your first bite? And I don't want you thinking anything about yourself, as in like, oh my God. So, because then it's going to start, as soon as it gets what it wants, its dialogue is going to start to change. Then it's going to start saying, oh my God. First it'll say, oh my God, this is so good. Oh, this is so good. Almost like relief, like it was air or something, and if it couldn't have got that air, it was going to die. So it's eating it. Oh my God, this is so good. Oh, I know I shouldn't have this though. I know I shouldn't be eating this. Oh my God, I have no control. I have absolutely zero control. I'm so out of control. Then its dialogue is going to start to change. Right? Watch that too. Just watch the insanity of it. That is not you. Please remember, that is not you. That is the thing that is controlling you and many, 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 many people. Many people are sucked into this audio, this thing going on in the head. Many people. Just watch it. Every single time you feel the urge, you go get the food. I don't want you to fight the urge. This is not a big deal. This is not a big deal. I repeat, this is not a big deal. Only if you make it a big deal do you feed this thing that's controlling you. Only if you agree that this is a big deal. This is not a big deal. The truth here is that you just got sucked in by this ego voice in the head. And now it's got you on this little cycle. And it's not a big deal. Because you're getting off. And your first exercise is as you're going to get the food, put that thing on the stage, see it throwing its fit, and watch it. Listen, the key here, don't judge it, don't argue with it, don't be mad at it, don't hate it, don't feel anything. Silently observe it. Look at it. Just look at it. There that thing is that is not me. If you think anything, think that. There that thing is that is not me. There that thing is that is not me. There that thing is that is not me. And I'm feeding it basically, but I'm watching. I'm feeding it this food, but I'm watching, and as I'm just watching that thing that is not me, I am gaining power over it. You may not know how that's happening, you may not believe me, but you are. Then soon you'll be able to do exercise 2. And once you start that, this is consciousness. You're not just you're doing a spiritual practice here also. This is consciousness. You are regaining power over your actions and behaviors. Your reactions, your actions, your behaviors. You're stepping back into control of that. And this thing, every time you say, there that thing is, that is not me. There that thing is, making a big massive deal out of food again, that is not me. There that thing is, thinking this is life or death and creating so much pressure and urge and panic around food, that is not me. So step 2 will be, when you start to get stronger, what you're going to notice is that pull, that urge, that almost pain inside to go get that food will get less and less and less, because it's losing its power to create that feeling. So as that gets less, you'll be able to use the words that I gave you earlier when we were talking about the what you are and the truth of how the what you are views food and the body. And it will start talking to you and trying to get you to move towards thinking about food, and you'll be like, I could take it or leave it. Whatever. I could take it or leave it. Yeah, I mean, I'll get it later. I'll eat it later. I could take it or leave it. It's not that big a deal. I don't really care. It's not that big a deal. I'll have to get up and I have to go fix it, and I'll get it in a minute. I'll get it later. And then you're going to start noticing the change in behavior. As in, oh wow, I didn't even really... Once it stopped being a big deal and became a nothing thing that it always has been, it's only been a big deal because your mind made it a big deal and you agreed with it. Once you stop agreeing that it's a big deal, that's it. It's done. You're off the wheel. And it is that simple. It's not a big deal. But your mind will then start to create this fear. Okay, here's another story it's going to tell. Besides, you can't do it and this won't work. It's going to have a fear that, oh my God, you can't do what she's saying because you're going to gain massive amounts of weight because I'm going to constantly make you go eat everything. Guess what? It's already doing that. Let's shine some light on the truth here. It's already doing that. It's been doing that for years. It's already in control of what you eat. What I'm doing with you right now and helping you see is that I want you, the power to be in your consciousness's hands, in your hands, in the what you are's hands. And the what you are, when it's in those hands, could care less. It doesn't care. It's just food. It is just food. It is not a big deal. You can, if you live in America or, unless you're living in a third world country, you can get it anywhere. It's everywhere. In a lot of places, you can have it dashed to your door dashed. It's yeah. It's not a big deal. It's just food. It's a nothing thing. Yeah, but here's the voice. Yeah, but my weight, oh my gosh, I'll never be able to lose. The weight won't come off, and okay. Then let there be acceptance of where you are and where your body is. But as you become more control over food, and your behaviors around food by becoming more conscious, you're not going to be eating like you were eating. So odds are that weight is going to change. Although what you are doesn't care about that so much. It cares about, being healthy, taking care of what it has to walk around in. It cares about that. But even that's not a big deal. Even that's not an obsession. That's not something that it's like life or death. It's not a big deal. But it's something that it will naturally be drawn to do, to take care of its body. I hope that this consciousness practice helps to free you from those behaviors. I know that it will, and I know how simple that it sounds, and it's like, that's not going to, I know what the voice will say about it. It can't be that easy. Well, it's not actually easy to do. The solution, what I'm saying, sounds very simple. It's not complex at all, and usually the truth is just that. It's not complex, some crazy thing that has to happen. It's very simple, but the application and remembering to do it is the challenge. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you for another conscious conversation at another date.